Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society and whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kate, and I am very happy to say that both Matthew and Ryan are back. How are you, gents?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. I've missed you both. You've been AWOL for your different reasons, living a non-lockdown life, unlike my good self. What have you been up to?
We have just been living the dream up here in Queensland, mate. I got double vaxxed, so had my second one last Friday. Was expecting some symptoms, so I said to Kim, look, I'm going to take the rest of the day off here. And nothing came, so happy days for me, I guess.
Did you still have the afternoon off?
I didn't in the end, no. I had planned to, but nothing came. So I should have just actually faked it, really, and put the feet up.
Well, given you'd cleared it, you probably should have made the most of it.
I'll learn from my mistakes next time. We had a nice week away last week, which is why I wasn't here last weekend. Went to a town about 2.5 hours out of Brisbane called Stanthorpe, and there's just so much to do there. Wineries, breweries, cheese tasting. It's an apple country out there.
Wait, so you can travel more than 10 kilometres from your home?
Yeah.
What is it? Are you in the Garden of Eden? Where are you?
It's like we're in a different country.
What about you, Ryan? You've been living the dream up in Cambridge.
I have. I've been traveling a little bit more than 10 kilometers. A little bit run down at the moment, just a bit unwell, not COVID. I have tested. I think just a bit burnt out because we have a lot more freedoms than you do. So I've been away because I've been in Cambridge kicking off some studies there and exploring all things Cambridge University, really.
Well, you did send through some photos to us, and it looked very Harry Pottery.
It was very Harry Potter. We've done everything in terms of like the colleges, the dinners, the having to put on a gown. It's pretty humbling being in places that have been around since the 1400s and just exploring that a little bit more.
Did you have to pull a piece of paper out of a magic hat and that revealed the house that you're a member of?
No, but we were expecting, like a lot of us were expecting, to just have the sorting hat come out and kind of tell us what college that we were in. But no, unfortunately, no sorting hat.
Still sounds like good times, and the fact that you can also move more than 10 kilometres away from your abode is helpful. Although down here in Victoria, or I should say Melbourne, we get an extra 5 kilometres on Wednesday, so we'll be able to move 15 kilometres from home. So we've almost, doubled our proximity.
Exciting times.
That's the small things you have to hold on to. Speaking of small things or all things, we're going to talk about gifts tonight, and you should always be grateful for any gift you receive. And this was drummed into me when I was about a 7-year-old boy, and I got a present at Christmas from my mum's friend, and I was just like, I opened it, and I was like, is that it? Like, because I don't know what it was. It's maybe like it might have been a ruler, or it might have been, a pre-gifted, re-gifted thing. And my mum said to me afterwards, she said, listen, you can't say things like that. Like, it's the thought which counts. And the fact you got anything, you should be grateful for. So I've tried to be grateful for all my life since that point of time. But I did think that be an interesting topic to talk about, maybe some presents which maybe didn't kind of measure up to expectations that we've received over the duration of our lives.
Yeah, I'll kick off here, boys. So this was a gift given to me back when I was maybe 8 or 9, so quite early on. So every year we'd go for Christmas up to my father's mum and dad's. And we sort of, I don't want to say loathe, but it was always one of those, the pain in the arse of the family for Christmas. You look forward to going on the other side of the family. This one was like, it's a bit of a drag, but we go up there anyway. Year on year, the present was always pajamas. Okay, but that's not the shit present. And pajamas, are great as an adult, but as a kid, like, who wants pajamas? You want a toy or, something you can play with that day, unwrap, have some fun with. So on a side note, I think my mum said to me the other week, or when it was Mia's birthday last time, about getting pajamas. And I'm like, Mum, do not give these kids pajamas, okay? We'll buy them throughout the year, but they're not opening up pajamas on Christmas Day or their birthdays because that is a shit present. But anyway, I digress. The present I received from my nan and pop, and I know it's the thought that counts, but looking back, I don't think any thought really went into this, because this one year, it wasn't a set of pajamas, it was a Swiss Army knife, which sounds great in theory, but this Swiss Army knife had been picked up from an op shop, and 3 or 4 of the components of the Swiss Army knife were missing. So not only had she gone to the op shop to get this present, it wasn't even the full present at all. And even, I think Mum and Dad on the way home said that is tight. And they are known for being tight asses.
This is
family, so.
Your nana and, did you say your nana and pop?
Yeah, they're both.
So your grandparents?
Yeah.
Gave you a Swiss Army knife missing some of the components.
Like the tweezer component was missing on one side, and I think one of the blades or something in the knife was rusty. So obviously someone had put in water previously. It was just a low point.
So I was going to say, some of the key components, like a corkscrew, like you probably didn't need a corkscrew when you're 8 years old, was probably still there, but something.
No, that was still there, but you open it up and you get like little scissors. Well, they wouldn't open and close because it was all shut.
Well, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the 30 things that men must own, which I actually won by a few points over you, Matthew, I should say. At least your wife, she came through with the goods much later in life when she provided you a Swiss Army knife, which I assumed had all the components on it and was also engraved.
Yeah, roughly 20 years later, Kim Day actually go and buy me a proper Swiss Army knife with all the components there and no rust to speak of. So I came full circle and was able to put the past behind me.
It got from worst present to best present. I like it. Actually, when we're talking about presents and Christmas, I actually have people that I don't see who buy presents for my son. Like, I don't see my cousins and particular sets of cousins and aunties and uncles very much. I see them maybe once a year, maybe once every couple of years. And they still buy my little fella something from a toy. It's usually something cheap and cheerful, but they probably wouldn't even recognize him if they walked past him on the street. They might not even recognize me. Did that happen to you, Maddie? Do your kids get random presents from people who you don't really kind of know, even if they are family?
Yeah. So lately we've been having the Christmas here with Kim's side of the family, and there's a massive amount of these people, which we see once a year at this Christmas party. But again, that's when the presents start coming out. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's just a you give what we give sort of thing. I just stand back and go, what's the point?
It's pretty much like the Kris Kringles you get at a workplace, where you go, oh, that person over, in that other division there, or, the person in the other corner of my division who I never speak to, I get her name drawn out of the hat or his name drawn out of the hat, and I have to try to find a gift which is appropriate for them under $20. It's a bit like that. You're just kind of going, oh, it's really, how about I just give you the $20 cash and you give me the $20 cash back, and we just go, well, no one cares.
Exactly. Or if your little guy doesn't open the present, you just quickly sneak that back at home, throw it in the present cupboard, and just hand to a birthday party.
I'll be honest, I have done that before. I have done, like, he's so many presents. I kind of go, okay. He'll be like, oh, did I get a present? Was there a present? I thought, nah, mate, no present there. Sorry, champ. Because inevitably you'd be like something completely useless or inappropriate, which we end up putting in the cupboard anyway. And there are some pretty crazy toys out there these days.
Quite sustainable to re-gift presents is what I think when you get a bad one.
I think we're gonna try to nip it in the bud this year and just give people pot plants. Like, give some 3-year-old kid a pot plant and give the other the reciprocal gift. Like, we might get something for the little fella, and our reciprocal gift will just be so poor, like a pot plant or something like that, that a 3-year-old will just be like, "What the hell is this?" Next year they won't think to get us a present. Now, Ryan, have you ever been gifted anything which kind of didn't? Admittedly, you may have a man of high standards. Did you have any presents which didn't meet your standards?
I am a man of high standards, and gifting is one of those big things for me.
It's your love language, isn't it?
It is. Yep. It is the love language, which makes it very challenging for a lot of people. Um, Nothing comes to mind. I mean, plenty of times when I was younger, like I'd get things from my grandma or whatnot that were probably quite on the religious side. That were sort of just, I don't understand why I was getting any of them. And you'd get like some knitted stuff, and you kind of sit there and you go, we live in Australia. We don't really need knitted stuff. It's quite warm. But I think, besides doing the whole Kris Kringle at work situation, where, to be honest, I'll probably get a present. If it's not either chocolate or wine, it probably just gets regifted. I think I have disciplined my family very well to go, just give us your list, Ryan. We know you always have a list of things that you want. Give us your list. And like, I almost orchestrate now to the point where I kind of know what I'm getting for birthdays and Christmas every year. But equally, I ask the same for them, because there's nothing worse than getting a bad present. Some people are like, well, that kind of takes the surprise out of it. But then I don't want shit that I'm not going to use, because I'm just going to either throw it away or regift it. So yeah, I think I probably got some pretty average presents years ago. And now like I've trained those closest to me on how not to do that to me, which I would recommend for other people.
That is a really good idea. I actually am not a huge present sort of person. So my love language, and again, this love language is harking back to another episode of Dad Eats last week we've done previously. I'm not a gifting. I don't really. I'm not big on gifts. So birthday and Christmas presents, I'm like, I don't really need anything. I don't really want anything. So I kind of train people just not to get me anything. But I do remember a particularly bad present back from maybe going back sort of maybe 12 to 15 years ago. I'm not exactly sure of the range. And it's from from an ex-girlfriend. And a couple of months before my birthday, I had a stereo, and I think she dropped it, or it knocked it and fallen, and it had broken. And so my birthday comes around, and what do you want for your birthday? There's nothing I really want, or nothing I really need. And lo and behold, on my birthday, I opened the present, and it is a stereo, basically replacing the stereo that she broke. So rather than I'll make good on the stereo and get your present, it was literally just, here's your present. It's just a stereo that I broke.
It was efficient at least.
Sorry?
It was efficient at least.
It was efficient, and I guess it filled a need, because I wanted a stereo. I hadn't got around to getting one, but like at the same time, like if I break something or somebody, I'll probably replace it in the first instance.
Like, did it at least come with a CD or any kind of thing to use with the stereo at all, or was it just a like for like replacement?
Arguably, it was a better model, although it didn't work. Like this new stereo, the CD player was very finicky. Like you put the CD in, and probably 3 out of 4 times at work, where 25% sort of fail rate on the CD. I couldn't really take it back. Oh, that stereo you got me to replace the one you broke, it's actually probably working worse than the broken one.
Do you remember your reaction?
I kind of reacted like it was a bit of a what the fuck sort of reaction. I was like, you broke the stereo and you're giving me a stereo? I'm not sure that's how these things work. But I didn't say I wanted a present, so I can't be too sort of ungrateful. I can't be too ungrateful, but here we are. I don't have the stereo anymore, to be honest, so it's gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that in that sense, you left yourself exposed there, but I think that's why it's good to orchestrate and be like, this is what I would like. Yeah. And surprisingly, to your point, Maddie, actually, as you become an adult, literally pajamas will hit that list for me. I'm like, I would like pajamas.
You'd be, what sort of pajamas are you into, Ryan? You'd be a very specific pajama man?
Oh, yeah. Okay, you can't... I do request Peter Alexander pajamas, because you can't get them over here in the UK, and they are very, very good. Plus, they usually have some form of Australiana on them or something like that, depending on what one you get.
So
I quite like that.
Do you need the long flannels at the moment in England? Are you a t-shirt and boxer sort of man? What are you sleeping in?
Mainly t-shirt, boxes. The pants are good. That is the long trousers, and you do need one long sleeve one, definitely.
Hey Matthew, just while we're touching on the topic of what you sleep in, you sleep in a beanie because it's so cold up in Queensland these days.
No, I'm out of the beanie at the moment, but I am in the. Sometimes I throw the jumper on, but no, generally it's just shorts and a t-shirt with a pair of socks. Always like a pair of socks on my feet when I sleep.
Pair of socks, you get cold feet.
Yeah. Keep the tootsies warm.
And we're both still to hark back to a very old episode of Daddy Eats Last, because we're over 3 years into Daddy Eats Last. I'm not sure where this one rates in the how far back sort of scale. Are we both still spooning?
Yep.
It's important. Makes you happier.
Well, it is good to know that the spoon update is that spooning is still going on in 2/3 of the Daddy Eats Last households. That's a good place to wrap up for this week. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't done already. And while you're there, please leave a review. Also, tell your mates about the podcast. And also, if they do buy you presents, and guys often don't buy guys presents, give them a list. It'll help them out. Most of all, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week for another episode, or should I say serving of Daddy Eats Last. That's a gift for you all. Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.